Hello and welcome to our video today where we're going to reveal to you the 9 most surprising facts you never knew. We live in a world full of amazing facts, some of which are common knowledge, like never eating yellow snow. But some are lesser known, like the fact that cheetahs love the smell of Calvin Klein fragrances. So, let's dive right in and get started. Did you know that there are more possible iterations of a game of chess than there are atoms in the known universe? The number of possible iterations in a game of chess is estimated to be around 10 to the power of 120, while the estimated number of atoms in the observable universe is around 10 to the power of 80. This means that the number of possible chess game iterations is much, much larger than the number of atoms in the universe. To put this into perspective, consider that the number of grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth is estimated to be around 7.5 times 10 to the power of 18, which is still many orders of magnitude smaller than the number of possible chess game iterations. In other words, the number of possible chess games is so vast that it is difficult to grasp the enormity of it. It's worth noting that the estimate of the number of possible chess game iterations is based on the assumption that every legal move in a game of chess is equally likely, which is not necessarily true in practice. Nonetheless, the fact remains that the game of chess is incredibly complex and has a vast number of possible outcomes. The shortest war in history was between the countries of Zanzibar and Great Britain, and it only lasted 38 minutes. The war between Zanzibar and Great Britain, also known as the Anglo-Zanzibar War, occurred on August 27, 1896. It was a result of a succession dispute following the death of Sultan Hamad bin Thuwaini, with one candidate, Khalid bin Barghash, attempting to seize power. Great Britain, which had considerable influence in the region, had previously issued an ultimatum for Khalid to stand down, but he refused. As a result, British ships and troops were sent to the region, and they quickly overwhelmed the defending Zanzibari forces. The war officially ended just 38 minutes after it began, with Khalid fleeing the palace and seeking refuge in the German consulate. The casualties from the conflict were relatively low, with only around 500 Zanzibaris killed or wounded, compared to just one British sailor who was injured. The event highlighted the imperialistic tendencies of European powers in Africa during the late 19th century. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. A flamboyance is the collective noun used to describe a group of flamingos, both on the ground and in flight. Other terms used to describe a group of flamingos include a colony and a regiment. The term flamboyance is fitting for this group of birds as it refers to something that is stylish, colorful, bright, dazzling, and flashy, which is an apt description of the magnificent pink-feathered creatures. Interestingly, the word flamingo comes from the Latin word flamma, meaning flame or fire. Flamingos are social birds and prefer to live and interact with their own kind. They form groups or flocks that can range in size from several dozen individuals to up to 1 million individuals. When in a group, flamingos engage in various social behaviors such as synchronized walking, group mating displays, and standing on one leg. In summary, a flamboyance is the most commonly used term to describe a group of flamingos, although they can also be referred to as a colony or a regiment. These social birds engage in various group behaviors and prefer to interact with their own kind. If you're finding this video helpful, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. By doing so, you'll be helping us to grow our community and reach even more people with our content. And if you have any questions or comments about what we've covered so far, feel free to leave a comment down below. Thanks for your support. One of the world's oldest pairs of shoes is 5,500 years old and made from a single piece of leather. The oldest shoes in the world are sandals made from sagebrush bark, which date back to 7000 or 8000 BCE and were found in a cave in Oregon in 1938. However, the oldest known leather shoe is a cowhide moccasin-like shoe that is believed to be over 5,500 years old, discovered in Armenia in 2008 and still in perfect condition. Additionally, the oldest pair of shoes ever found, a pair of sandals made with rope, are 10,000 years old and were discovered in Oregon. It is worth noting that shoes are likely much older than these discoveries. A sneeze can travel up to 100 miles per hour, and the particles it releases can travel up to 30 feet away from you. According to various sources, a sneeze can travel at speeds of up to 100 miles per hour, and the particles it releases can travel up to 30 feet away from you. While most of the droplets will dissipate before they travel that far, a small amount of them could potentially travel even faster, up to 200 miles per hour. Additionally, the droplets in a sneeze can remain moist for up to 30 minutes and travel up to about 200 feet. It is estimated that a sneeze can launch germs much farther than 6 feet, depending on the temperature and humidity. It's also important to note that a sneeze can release tens of thousands of droplets from your nose, which can spread germs, pollen, or dust. In order to prevent the spread of these particles and the associated germs, it is recommended to cover your nose and mouth when you sneeze with a tissue, elbow, or other barrier, and to wash your hands frequently. Furthermore, it is important to avoid holding in a sneeze, as doing so can put up to 20 times more pressure on your airways compared to letting the sneeze out, and potentially cause injury or spread germs to others. The world's largest snowflake was 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick, and it fell in Montana in 1887. The largest recorded snowflake in the world was 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick, and it fell in Montana in 1887. The record of this snowflake is included in the Guinness World Records. It is said that the snowflake was larger than milk pans. This giant snowflake was spotted by a Montana rancher during a snowstorm at Fort Keogh in Montana in 1887. To put its size into perspective, it was 3 inches wider than a typical dinner plate. It is also interesting to note that about 200 snow crystals make up each snowflake, and snowflakes often have 6 facets. Only female mosquitoes bite humans. Male mosquitoes feed on flower nectar. It's true that only female mosquitoes bite humans. Depending on the species, female mosquitoes need blood to complete the reproductive cycle and to nourish their eggs. Male mosquitoes don't bite people, though they can bite animals in some cases. They mainly feed on flower nectar and are important pollinators for many crops. Female mosquitoes can lay hundreds of eggs at once, often in standing water or moist areas. Females also require a blood meal after mating and will look for hosts such as humans, birds, and other warm-blooded animals by detecting their body heat, carbon dioxide, and CO2. Mosquitoes are vectors for many deadly diseases, such as malaria and yellow fever, making them one of the world's most dangerous creatures. The only letter that doesn't appear in any U.S. state name is the letter Q. This is especially interesting when you consider that some of these state names are quite long, like North Carolina or West Virginia. It's a unique fact and something that may come up in trivia games or conversations. It is interesting to note that the letter Q can be found in the names of other countries and regions, like Qatar and Quebec. Additionally, there are a few U.S. cities and towns in which the letter Q can be found, such as Quincy and Quogue in New York. So, even though the letter Q does not appear in any U.S. state name, it is present in many other places around the world. The world's largest grand piano was built by a 15-year-old in New Zealand, and it's over 18 feet long. The 15-year-old's name is Adrian Mann, and he built the grand piano in 2000 as a school project. The piano has 85 keys, weighs over 1.2 tons, and took him 3 years to build. It is currently on display at the De Beers Music School in Auckland, New Zealand. The piano has been recognized by the Guinness World Records as the world's largest playable piano. The grand piano built by Adrian Mann is not only the world's largest piano, but it's also fully playable. It was designed to be a performance instrument, and its sound is said to be more akin to that of a pipe organ than a traditional piano due to its size. The construction of the piano involved Mann sourcing many of the materials from scrapyards and second-hand stores, as well as crafting many of the components himself. The piano's frame is made of wood and steel, and it has 45 strings. Mann's grand piano has gained worldwide recognition and has been featured in numerous music festivals and events. It has also been played by renowned pianists such as Stephanie McCallum and Richard Hageman. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it informative and valuable, please consider subscribing to our channel for more content like this. By subscribing, you'll never miss out on our latest videos. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we post new content. Lastly, please give us a thumbs up and leave a comment below to let us know your thoughts.